Lighting. This is the most important aspect of filmmaking that is always overlooked, but is crucial in achieving that cinematic movie look we work towards. You can have an amazing camera with the best lenses available, all the right settings dialed in, and stunning compositions and camera movement, and it still doesn't come close to how essential lighting and your ability to shape light is. Anytime you watch a movie or TV show and are mesmerized by what you see, it is usually due to the lighting that brings everything together. It's important to learn and understand the camera placement in relation to your light source and how to create depth with lighting, the different sources of light there are to use to your advantage, and lighting techniques you can use to achieve different looks and moods. Today we'll go over these aspects of lighting so you can start feeling more confident in what you shoot and increase your production value. Now, if you know me, compositions are my favorite thing about movies and filmmaking, and I do tend to think about what my shot is going to look like first, but the shots I come up with only work if the lighting works with it. Let me explain what I mean by that. Camera placement is really important no matter the price or size of the lights you use, because if you aren't placing your camera relative to where your light is, this can be the reason why you're not satisfied with what you capture or why it's not like what you see on the big screen. Misplacing the camera can lead to your images falling flat with no depth or character and is the quickest way to not make it in filmmaking. The solution to this is to shoot on the shadow side of your subject. This is also known as backlighting or upstage lighting, and it is when you put the subject in between your camera and light. Whether it's a person or an object you're focusing on, putting your camera on the opposite plane of your light already helps to create the look and feel we see in movies. Once you realize this, you'll constantly notice it in what you watch. Putting your subject on the same side or plane as your light is what makes the image look flat with no depth to it. Doesn't matter what type of light source you are using or techniques, this is what every cinematographer usually looks to do in their work. Like adding foreground elements to your composition, shooting the shadow side also makes the frame pop, adding a 3D element to it. Sometimes we do see broad lighting being used in cinema, but most shots are from the shadow side. Good camera placement also helps to create patterns of light and dark across your frame, which further adds to the depth you want in your image for that cinematic look many of you like to call it. As you see in these examples, the patterns of light and dark in the image have more character than that flat lighting. Since you now understand where you should place your camera in relation to the light, you can experiment with different light sources you can use. With any of these light sources I talk about, you still want to place the camera as best as possible to achieve that movie look. No matter your budget, the most popular source of light anyone can use is the sun, which is also commonly known as natural light. Everyone has the sun available to them outdoors. It might differ in the amount you have coming into the interiors, but this is the first source I consider when I'm filming. If you want the light to be soft or not so harsh as it is during most of the day, you'll want to stick to shooting during sunrise or sunset. Or another time of day to shoot, which is actually my favorite, is blue hour. This is either right before sunrise or right after sunset. For 20 to 30 minutes, there's still enough light outside, and the world is just covered in this shade of blue, making everything cooler and more flattering to shoot in. I really could go on about it. Now you can decide to shoot at any time during the day and get softer results, but that would take more equipment or mean limiting your locations to shoot in the shade. There are silk scrims that are amazing at diffusing the harsh sunlight, but not everyone can just go out and spend that much on a diffuser, especially if you're new to this. So that's why you can get a cheap 5-in-1 reflector and it should get similar results. This way you can get softer light at almost any time of day when you need to get your filming done. With this, you can also bounce more light into your subject or even take away light to increase the shadows with the other reflectors. Or you can decide to embrace the harsh light, as that brings a look to your image that can still be film-like, as not all light is soft in cinema. Now if you don't have natural light available or even want to use natural light, this is when you would introduce artificial light, especially in your interior or night shots. And the best way to start figuring out what artificial light you might need is by introducing practical lights into your frame. And what is the most common practical light used? Lamps. Practical lighting is simply using actual light sources within your frame. Examples of this include TVs, computers, flashlights, candles, street lamps, signs, car headlights, and many more. These practical lights can help illuminate your subjects more if needed, or make it easier to add artificial light to your scene to enhance the lighting in frame, which is also known as motivated light. The light sources you use, whether it's natural or practical, might not be strong enough to properly expose your scene, or be too strong where it's overexposed in your frame, so you use artificial light to enhance these other sources and get proper exposure, but in a way that creates a convincing world that makes sense. You don't want a lamp in your frame here to then put artificial light on the opposite side to brighten up your scene. You want the additional light to look as if it's coming from the lamp so the audience thinks it's coming from the lamp. This is the same with natural light. If the sunlight entering the frame isn't strong enough, you can add artificial light to make the natural light seem brighter than it actually is, or to increase the ambient lighting in the space you're working in. There are many options for artificial light, you just need to experiment to find the right light for the use case. The important thing to take away here is the placement of your light also needs to make sense with your environment so the audience isn't left wondering where the light is coming from. Now that you know where you should place your camera, the different light sources available to you, and how you can use them, let's go over some lighting techniques that you can start using to achieve certain looks in your work. The most common and traditional technique used is the 3-point lighting technique. Here, you place your light sources in 3 distinct positions in relation to your subject. You use a key light as the primary and brightest source of light, a fill light to fill in the shadows to bring back any details needed, and a backlight, also known as a rim or hair light, that illuminates the back part of your subject. I think it's self-explanatory, and you see this constantly used to achieve those patterns of light and dark across your frame to get that cinematic look. In a future video, I can go further into breaking down lighting techniques and setups if you'd like. Just let me know by commenting down below. And if you are enjoying the video, why not hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. After the 3-point technique, there's also the 4-point lighting technique where the 4th light source illuminates the background itself. A standard and widely significant lighting style is Rembrandt lighting, also seen a lot in photography and paintings as it was created in the 17th century. Now this is done with just one light source and can stick out more visually with harsh light, but can be achieved with softer light too. All you have to do to achieve this look is have your light source up and above your subject and angle it from one side at around 45 to 60 degrees. On the shadow side of their face, you should see a triangle form and create the Rembrandt lighting look. You can also let the darker parts of the image just fall into the shadows instead of adding a fill light to make it more dramatic. Another popular and simple lighting technique is simply backlighting your subject. Putting your light source opposite of your camera with your subject in between creates a moody feel to the image. You can push this look even more by deciding to have the front of your subject fall completely to dark to create a silhouette that is constantly used in movies. Here are some more lighting techniques you always see used. Top-down lighting or top lighting, where the light is directly above your subject. High-key lighting. There's less contrast and very minimal shadows in the image, and it is the very opposite of low-key lighting, where the contrast is higher and usually with harsher shadows in the scene. And I can go on and on in this video with more lighting tips and tricks, but if you like a video on that, why not hit the like button and comment down below to show your support. If you are new to the channel, why not subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you in the next one.